Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare
जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, गंगा देवी मनमाय की जय, श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी भक्ति देवी हरे नाम संकीर्तन यागी की जय, डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्तिदान सोमवार गुरु वृंद की जय, समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम ग्लोरीस्तुते समुद्र ओम ग्लोरीस्तुते समुद्र वचसो ग्लोरीस्तुते समुद्र वचसो ग्लोरीस्तु श्री गौरंग। I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace one can cross the ocean from material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the word emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all his earth. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic emanates, by him existence provide the Vedic scriptures sing the character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, friend of the poor, Lord of masters. O Master Primus, give us the shade of lotus feet. We take shelter at your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Karatals. Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivardhari, Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivardhari, Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana, Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana, Yamuna Tira Banachare, Yamuna Tira Banachare, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivardhari, Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivardhari, Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana, Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana,
Yamuna tira vanachare. Yamuna tira vanachare. Jai Shri Radha Landaneshwara ki jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki jai. Shri Giriraj Gordhan Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Javangraj Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Iskon Bhartmana Guru Vrinda ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Agyanti Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalaka Chaksharan Militam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Ayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Vidai Mahatpriyai, Mahapuro, Vipurnir, Makshade, Ramusha Purusha, Munkte Gunan, Sadasa, Sadasatmakalan, Krishista, Bhagavan, Vacham Sime. Om Nama Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Nama Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, with the blessings of all the Vaishnavas present physically and online, we continue reading from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 14. Lord Krishna explains the yoga system to Sri Uddhava. And today we are reading text number 10, which is not on the board again, so, or on the screen, which is promising to appear on the board soon, or on the screen, whichever case. Yeah. So we can, while the preparations on, we can repeat the synonyms. Dharmam, pious activities. Eke, some people. Yashaha, fame. Cha, also. Anye, others. Kamam, sense gratification. Satyam, truthfulness. Dhamam, self-control. Shamam, peacefulness. Anye, others. Vadanti, propound. Sva-artham, pursuing one's self-interest. Vai, certainly. Aishwaryam, opulence or political influence. Tyaga, renunciation. Bhajanam, consumption. Kechit, some people. Yagyam, sacrifice. Tapaha, austerity. Danam, charity. Bratani, taking vows. Niyaman, regular religious duties. Yaman, strict regulative discipline. Dharma meke yashaschanye. Dharmameke yashaschanye Kamam satyam damam shamam Kamam satyam damam shamam Anye vadanti swartamba Anye vadanti swartamba Aishwaryam tyaga bhajanam Aishwaryam tyaga bhojanam Kechit yagyam tapodanam Bratani niyamam yaman Dharmameke yashaschanye Kamam satyam damam shamam Anye vadanti swartamba Aishwaryam tyaga bhojanam Kechit yagyam tapodanam Bratani niyamam yaman Dharmameke yashaschanye Kamam satyam damam shamam Anye vadanti swartamba Aishwaryam tyaga bhojanam Kechit yagyam tapodanam Bratani niyaman yaman Dharmameke yashaschanye Kamam satyam damam shamam Anye vadanti swartamba Aishwaryam tyaga bhojanam Kechit yagyam tapodanam Bratani niyaman yaman Dharmameke yashaschanye Kamam satyam damam shamam Anye vadanti swartamba Aishwaryam tyaga bhojanam Kechit yagyam tapodanam Bratani niyaman yaman. Ladies. Dharmameke yashaschanye Kamam satyam damam shamam Anye vadanti swartamba Aishwaryam tyaga bhojanam Kechit yagyam tapodanam Bratani niyaman yaman. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Some say that people will be happy by performing pious religious activities. Others say that happiness is attained through fame, sense gratification, truthfulness, self-control, peace, self-interest, political influence, opulence, renunciation, consumption, sacrifice, penance, charity, vows, regulated duties or strict disciplinary regulation. Each process has its proponents. Purport. Dharmameke refers to those atheistic philosophers called karma mimamsakas who state that one should not waste time worrying about a kingdom of God that no one has ever seen and from which no one has ever returned. Rather, that one should expertly utilize the laws of karma, performing fruitive activities in such a way that one will always be well situated. Concerning fame, it is said that as long as the fame of a human being is sung in the pious planets, he may live for thousands of years in material heaven. Kamam refers to Vedic texts like the Kama Sutra, as well as millions of modern books that advise one about sex pleasure. Some people state that the highest virtue in life is honesty. Others say it is self-control, peace of mind, and so on. Each viewpoint has proponents and quote-unquote scriptures. Others say that law, order, and morality are the highest good, whereas still others propose political influence as the real self-interest of human beings. Some state that one should give away one's material possessions to the needy. Others state that one should try to enjoy this life as far as possible, and others recommend daily rituals, disciplinary vows, penances, and so on. Very interesting. Dharma make yashaschanye kamam satyam damam shamam anye vadanti swarthamba aishwaryam tyagavojanam kichit yagyam tapodanam Bratani niyaman yaman. Some say that people will be happy by performing pious religious activities. Others say that happiness is attained through fame, gratification, truthfulness, self-control, peace, self-interest, political influence, opulence, renunciation, consumption, sacrifice, penance, charity, vows, regulated duties, or strict disciplinary regulation. Each process has its proponents. So it's really important for us to have holistic approach in Krishna consciousness, because fragmented perception is very materialistic, and it's important to remember that the word yoga means connection or link. So if we are Krishna conscious, we will be able to see the connections, we'll be able to see the links of everything with everything, right? And ultimately, how everything is linked to? Yes, that's Bhakti Yoga. And then how everything should be used for Krishna. And so in this sense, Bhagavatam is Krishna, no doubt. And Krishna is Swadharma Pagate, Dharma, what's that? Yeah, Krishna Swadharma Pagate, Dharma Jnana Adepisaha, Kalona Stavdrishamasha Puran Arko Dunodita. Bhagavatam. In Bhagavatam explains that after Krishna left to his own abode, followed by Dharma, Jnana, and other virtues. And then the darkness of the age of Kali prevailed, and the only source of light is very special Purana, Bhagavat Purana, which is shining like a sun. And so Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna, and therefore, in order to understand Bhagavatam, as well as Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita is also Krishna in its other form. Krishna has unlimited forms. But some of these forms are very important for us, whereas other forms have a little bit less importance, or little less relevance for our spiritual advancement. And so, therefore, we should study Bhagavatam not in fragmented way, pulling one quote or one statement out of the context and trying to fit it into our worldviews, right? We should have holistic approach. This is really important. Otherwise, we can never be Krishna conscious. And holistic approach is to see each verse in connection with previous verses and understand what are the verse following that verse, right? Otherwise, if you take that verse on its own, then it appears like Krishna is rejecting Dharma. Kama is okay to reject. We can understand, yes, it's problematic. But what about Satyam, truthfulness? Because we can understand that Satyam is the only leg of Dharma, right? And what we practice is also Dharma. And we cannot advance in Dharma without Satya. But here in this verse, Krishna apparently rejects everything, all these things, right? Dharma, Satya, Dhamma, which means self-control. My God. Krishna is talking, in dismissive way about self-control, right? And Shama, or peacefulness, etc. Tyaga, renunciation, and yagya, and tapa and dana. Interestingly enough, these three are grouped together in this verse. And if we look at the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which kind of summarizes the whole thing, right? And then Krishna speaks that some people say that you can give up yagya, tapa, and dana, which means sacrifice, austerity, and charity. No, yagya, dana, and tapa. Yagya, dana, tapaschaiva. But listen to what I want to say. And so then Krishna says, this is my opinion, listen to this attentively. And then he says, yagya, dana, tapaschaiva, natyajam, what's that? Anyway, that yagya, dana, tapaschaiva, pavanani manishina. That natyajam karyamevacha. Yagyam danam tapaschaiva pavanani manishana. He says, yagyam dana tapa chaiva, meaning also definitely, cha means and eva, certainly, 100% confirmed. Natyajam karyamevacha should never be given up. Why? Because yagyam danam tapaschaiva pavanani manishana, that these three, sacrifice, and charity and austerity, are purifying. Even the greatest thinkers, the smartest people, are purified by these three things. So everybody should always perform these three. But here in this verse, Krishna is speaking about yagya, dana, and tapa in dismissive terms. Right? Very interesting. And vrata, taking vows, and niyama, regular religious duties, and yama, niyama, this is how it all starts, right? Process of Krishna consciousness, because, a standard yoga, which is Ashtanga yoga, starts with these two, right? These are the first two steps in traditional Patanjali yoga, Ashtanga yoga, yama and niyama. And then how does it apply to Bhakti yoga? 100%. Because the first two items of Sharanagati, self-surrender, are what? Yeah, Aishwaryasya Salkapa, yeah. What happened to me? I'm forgetting all the Sanskrit. Anyway, accepting favorable and rejecting unfavorable. Without these two, you cannot surrender. But even about these, Krishna is speaking in dismissive terms. So, how do we understand these things? But if we look at the previous, those of you who remember the previous verse, Krishna was saying, "O best among men, the intelligence of human beings is bewildered by my illusory potency, and thus, according to their own activities and whims, they speak in innumerable ways about what is actually good for people." And so, actually, Krishna is not dismissing these things, but he is dismissing fragmented approach to life and to Krishna consciousness. And we can understand that without Krishna consciousness, there is no real life. It's just existence, right? Two types of existences. If you are failing, then it becomes struggle, right? Struggle for existence, human race. And this applies to the most people, because in Kali Yuga, most people are failing, right? Because they are lacking good karma and qualities. And if you are succeeding, no. If you completely succeeded in everything in life, then it becomes boring, yes. So you either failed or you're bored to death. So make your pick. And people in between who are, trying to succeed, they have the idea that they will be happy when they will succeed. But after they succeed, it's like the biggest trick of Maya. You succeeded and then you realize there is nothing in there which can make me happy. The only kind of little happiness we feel after we succeed is that because we don't have to struggle anymore, and so the relief creates that sensation of happiness. So Maya is like fooling everybody in such an amazing way. But then, material life is not real life. It's just misery, whichever way you take it. You failed, you're miserable. You succeeded, you're even more miserable because you have nowhere else to go. That's why there is an interesting quote. Can't remember who said that, but like really smart man. He said, and highly spiritually evolved being, he said, I wish that everybody in this material world would succeed to the max, would have every single dream fulfilled materially, because then they would realize, that it's all useless. And they would be focusing on their spiritual development, right? So this is very interesting. And so, we should understand that everything is valuable when it is connected to Krishna, right? But if it is disconnected from Krishna, everything becomes useless. It's like Prabhupada gives very simple analogy. He says a finger. Jai, Shri Radhalandanishwar, Shri Jagannath Badav Subhadramai, Shri Giriraj Gordhan, Shri Gornitai Ki Jai. A finger is very useful part of the body. If you have a risk of losing a finger due to some whatever disease, or you're ready to pay any money to save the finger, right? But because finger serves so many important purposes, and probably we take it for granted, and only those people who lose a finger, they start realizing, how important the finger was, etc. And so, but if finger is cut off the body, it becomes completely useless. Even the whole body itself, if it is separated from the soul, it becomes useless. And people want to get rid of it, right, as soon as possible. It's like my spiritual master gives an example that what people really love, like boy says, oh, I love this girl so much. And then, his dream is fulfilled and he's holding this very beautiful and very nice girl in his embrace. And then just imagine this girl dies of heart attack. And then he's not, he's not interested in the girl anymore. He wants to get rid of her. get rid of that body, like take it to the morgue or something. He doesn't want to keep it. So the body, what he really loved, he loved the soul, because the body without the soul loses all value. And why do we become attracted to the soul? Because it's part of the super soul. So we can understand that without Krishna, who is the super soul, everything is completely useless. Everything has any value, anything people value, only because there is Krishna in there. Krishna's potency is there. Without Krishna's potency, nothing is valuable. And so, if something is not really used for Krishna, we can understand that it becomes useless. Dharma becomes useless without Krishna. Like in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was talking about, so many types of dharmas. And what Krishna says at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Forget about all your arguments, just do what I say. Because I know I'm God. Don't worry about dharma. I know what I'm doing. I'm executing my plan. And so you have to be part of that plan. Nimitta bhava savyasachin. Just become an instrument in my hands. And so, karma, of course, is useless to the most part, but then it can be useful if it is used for Krishna. Dharma virudha kamosmi bharatarshava. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that sex life according to the principles of the scriptures, that's me. Dharma virudha bhutishu kamosmi bharatarshava. Because, it's like one man was asked, what's your attitude towards sex? And he says, sex? I owe my life to sex. Because without sex I would not appear in this world, right? So, what's our attitude to sex? We owe our life to sex. So, it's like a knife, right? Knife can be used for very good purposes in the hand of expert cooks. They cook so many preparations. But you can just imagine kitchen without knives. Would be a nightmare. But knife in the hand of a criminal is really dangerous thing. So the most important thing, consciousness, right, is consciousness. That's why Prabhupada named the society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, like topmost level of consciousness, right? This is our concern, not external things, because external things can be used in right or wrong ways according to one's perception. And this is really important point, because 11th canto is really meant to make us a little bit smarter and a little bit, see a little bit broader, because narrow consciousness, narrow perception, that's the source of all problems in material life and in religious circles as well. Because if someone has the really ugly and perverted manifestations of that fanaticism, terrorism, for example, so many innocent people suffer because of that. So, and it's all done in the names of God. I saw one video clip, and one Islamic State, terrorist was firing grenades to wherever he was firing in Syria, and they put the grenade into the gun, and then it shoots, and with each grenade put into the gun, he would say, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. So he was chanting the holy names. But, despite of the chanting of the holy names, we can understand that he is a real idiot, right? So, that's interesting, chanting. Illustration to what we're talking about. And so, we can understand that, in that context, even the chanting of the holy names is like a mockery of the entire process of the Yuga Dharma, right? So, therefore, it's really important, because 11th canto, looking at Krishna's body, because Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna, and so Srila Prabhupada was explaining that it represents Krishna's body in its fullness. Like the first 2 cantos are Krishna's lotus feet, 2 Krishna's lotus feet, and the 10th canto is Krishna's smiling face. And the 11th canto is right after the 10th canto, so going higher, what's coming after the face? Forehead, and what's behind the forehead? Brain. So that's why 11th canto is really brainy canto, right? I mean, I'm sure all of you have this experience already, those of you who are staying here. Going through the verses of 11th canto, really brainy stuff, is it? You've noticed that? But it's not meant for us to become, as Prabhupada was saying, to help us to become armchair philosophers. Just imagine, like philosophers sitting in armchairs and discussing theoretical stuff. Not for these purposes. It's meant for us, it's meant to help us to expand our consciousness and see things in perspective. That's really important, to perceive everything in the context. Instead of, having these stupid ideas, good and bad, right and wrong, within the duality of the material world, we should ask ourselves why. What's the purpose? What's the connection to Krishna? Whatever is happening is part of Krishna's plan, right? And so if we understand Krishna, we can understand his plan, and therefore we can understand how everything is part of Krishna's plan, right? And so, but then within Krishna's plan, we will know which side to take. Like the whole battle of Kurukshetra was Krishna's plan, but the smart people took Krishna's side, not the opposite side, right? Etc. And therefore, Krishna is helping us to broaden our consciousness, because this is the prime, if we talk about something which is really, really important for spiritual development, and everyone believes that something is important, right? Something is most important, and I personally believe that Krishna consciousness means broad consciousness. And it is based on one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which Srila Prabhupada was often quoting. Akama sarva kamava moksha kama udarati tivrena bhakti yogina yajeta purusham param. That it's very interesting that actually Srila Prabhupada starts translation of this verse with that statement. Those who have broader intelligence, this is how he translates. Those who have broader intelligence, they may have no any desires, be akama or sarvakama, have all types of desires, or mokshakama may desire liberation. But if they have this broad perception of things, udarati, then tivrena bhakti yogina, by focused practice of bhakti yoga, yajeta purusham param, they can achieve the topmost perfection. And these two things are really connected. Even though it's a little bit, counterintuitive, that how the broad consciousness can be connected to focused practices, how the broad is connected to narrow. But it is, because if you have broad consciousness, it's the consciousness of Krishna. This is the way Krishna is seeing and perceiving things. And therefore you can really understand what Krishna wants and serve Krishna without any doubts, right? Asamshayam. And this is really important for our advancement in Krishna consciousness, that we are free from all doubts. And therefore, anything which is taken out of the context of Krishna consciousness becomes useless. Even truthfulness becomes useless. Like there is an example in Mahabharata, right? When the Kurukshetra war was on and Maharaj Yudhishthira was fighting, and then he was injured and he had to retrieve, he had to go back to the camp to recover. And then, and he was lamenting that, oh, I cannot continue fighting this and that, it's really crucial time. And then everyone got worried, what happened to Maharaj Yudhishthira, and then Arjuna actually retrieved from the battle to check on Maharaj Yudhishthira. And then he came into the tent, and he was asking, how are you, what happened, is the wound is really serious? And Yudhishthira Maharaj said, no, it's not a big deal, I'll recover very soon, I'll come back. But what happened to you? Have you retaliated for my wound? Have you killed those Pandavas? Have you achieved victory? Arjuna said, no, the battle is still on, the same situation, but I just left to check on you. And then Maharaj Yudhishthira became irritated, because he said, how could you leave the battle just to come for me? Because anything could happen there. That's really irresponsible. I know why did you do that. Because Kshatriyas are like influenced by passion. So he said, you left that because you were afraid to fight without me. You are coward. You escaped from the battle. And so you should not pose yourself as a warrior anymore. You should put down your Gandiva bow. And then Arjuna became angry at Maharaj Yudhishthira, because Arjuna made a vow. Whoever tells him to put down his bow, he will kill that person. And Arjuna was with Krishna because Krishna is the driver, right? And so Krishna was standing right there. And Arjuna, pulled out his sword and he was ready to kill Maharaj Yudhishthira, to be truthful to his vow. Because for Kshatriya it's really important, right? And Krishna looked at Arjuna, he said, Arjuna, excuse me, what are you planning to do now? He said, I'm planning to kill Maharaj Yudhishthira, because he told me to put my Gandiva bow and, I vowed, whoever tells me that, I'll kill him. And so I want to be truthful. And Krishna said, just before you do that, I want to tell you a short story about truthfulness. That sometime back there was one Brahmana, and his name was Kaushik, and he vowed to be always truthful. And so one time he was sitting in one place, and then he saw some criminals, some robbers, dacoits chasing after a man or group of men, can't remember. And then that their victim or victims hid in the forest. And then when the dacoits came and they saw this Brahmana Kaushik, they were asking him, have you seen those guys? Did they pass by? And because he made a vow of truthfulness? He said, yes, I've seen. Where did they go? Where are they now? And he said, yeah, they are hiding in that forest. And so then the dacoits went and they killed all these people and robbed them. And Krishna says, as a result of his, absolute truthfulness, as a result of his strict following the vow of truthfulness, Kaushik went to hell and spent very long time in hell. So, do you want to be that truthful? And then, of course, Krishna preached to Arjuna, of course, helped Arjuna to come back to his senses, not to be stupidly truthful, right? Because this is a graphic example of how truthfulness can be taken out of context. So it's really important. And this is actually what constitutes religious fanaticism, that things are taken out of the context and they are presented as an absolute truth without connection to the absolute truth. Doing something what Krishna says without understanding whether Krishna wants it or not. This is called fanaticism. And we can understand that mundane attitude towards religion or atheism is really nothing else but an armed response to religious fanaticism. This is how atheism came into the picture. Because people saw ugly manifestations of religious practices, and there are plenty of those, we understand, and then they have decided it's all just, madness. And so, if God is there, how, people who are connected with God could be, if God is all perfect, how come that people connected to God could be such idiots, right? So the conclusion they come to is that God doesn't exist. And so that's why it's really important that, and we can also understand for ourselves that, our faith depends on what? The first and foremost thing. And it's like in the 9 stages of devotional advancement. Yes. These two things are standing side by side. First is Shraddha, faith, and then the faith strengthens by sadhu sangha, right? And we can, how many of you can agree that this is really true, that your faith, the better sangha you get, the stronger your faith becomes. And so we can understand that the opposite is also true. That if we associate with people who are really showing, unbelievably bad example of, spiritual life, we lose our faith. And especially if these people are senior enough, we start thinking, oh my God, if this guy spent so many years and then this is the example he's showing, what will happen to me after so many years, whether it's worth of even trying, so it can really damage our faith. And so we can understand that if we want to be exemplary in Krishna consciousness, it's really important to see the broader picture and I would say, because everyone is propounding one's own truth, right? So I'm also the same. I'm pushing my point. And my point is that the most important purpose in ISKCON for us to really, really focus on is first purpose. And my argument is simple, that there is a very, 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 very good reason why Srila Prabhupada put the first purpose first, which is, again, to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and teach all people the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and achieve real unity and peace in the world. Right? This would be real truth, real proof that we have genuine Krishna consciousness. When we would have these abilities to unite everyone and help everyone to solve their problems and achieve peace in the world. And so this is what Krishna wants, and this is what all his pure devotees want. Like Sri Prahlad Maharaj says in the 5th canto, I think, this is Residents of Jambudvipa offering prayers chapter. Swastyasti Vishvasa Kala Prasidatam Dayantu Bhutani Shiva Mithodhiya Manascha Bhadram Bhajatat Adhokshaje Aveshitam Namatir Aapya Haituki. That he says, Swasti Astu, let the auspiciousness be there for all. Let everyone be happy. Srila Prabhupada once said that this is the Vedic motto of Vedic culture. Let everyone be happy. And Vishvasa Kala Prasidatam. And, Vishvasa means let the whole universe be happy. And Kala Prasidatam. And let all the envious people become pacified. Let envious people become calm down as well. And Dhayantu Bhutani Shiva Mitodiya. Let everyone think of other people's welfare. Instead of thinking, what can I get for myself? Let everyone think, what can I do to make others happy? Right? And how this is possible? Manascha Bhadram Bhajatat Adokshaja. By devotional service to the unlimited Lord, Adokshaja, there will be Bhadra, auspiciousness in one's thinking. Manascha Bhadram Bhajatat Adokshaja Aveshyatam Namatirai Apyahaituki. And then one will become free from all selfish motivations. So this is what pure devotees want, and that's why we have the first purpose of ISKCON established by Srila Prabhupada, achieving real unity and peace in the world. And this will be real truth, a real proof that Krishna consciousness is the most important thing for all, right? When people will say, okay, my God, we cannot live without Hare Krishnas. Without Hare Krishnas, we don't have unity. Without Hare Krishnas, we don't have peace. And of course, charity begins at home. It's really important for us to have unity and peace amongst ourselves. And that's why Srila Prabhupada said that the proof of your love towards me will be shown through your cooperation with each other. And it's really important. Sankirtan means congregational glorification of the Supreme Lord. So cooperation is really important aspect. And so, we work together, we help each other, we serve each other, no matter whether devotees were dealing with juniors, equal or seniors, we serve them all in whichever way we can help them to advance and be happy in Krishna consciousness. And thus, all of us, we serve society, help them to advance in all respects and also be peaceful and happy. Srila Prabhupada said, in God consciousness, because people believe in different faiths, and it's very interesting. I started noticing that Srila Prabhupada makes this point in his purports often, that Krishna consciousness movement is meant to establish God consciousness in the world. We're not trying to convert everyone into Hare Krishna. We just want people to become God conscious, which is pretty much an equivalent of Krishna consciousness. Very interesting. All right, so any comments, questions, suggestions, complaints? Yes. Bhakta Mike.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for your class. You made an interesting and also a bit somewhat confusing point. You said that one problem we have is that we do what Krishna says without knowing whether that's what Krishna wants.
Yes.
So maybe you can speak a little more on that and clarify it for us, please.
Yes, that for us, we have to understand how, because Krishna is giving so many instructions, and so we have to understand which instruction is applicable in our case, right? It's like Srila Prabhupada was once asked, because he said that one should always follow the core principles of Krishna consciousness, never change the core principles of Krishna consciousness, but the details can be adjusted according to time, place, and circumstances. So externally, we may change things if we really understand the principles and we never change the principles. And one devotee was asking, so Srila Prabhupada, how do we do that? And Prabhupada smiled and he said, that takes little intelligence. So it's Buddhi Yoga, Krishna consciousness, and so that's why it's meant for the top level of human society. And sometimes I'm thinking, it's like, it's not us who should be sitting here today. It should be members of British Parliament together with the royal family who should be discussing these points, because it's actually meant for royalty, right? And it's also interesting that Srila Prabhupada said, we're just postmen, right, peons, to deliver the message. And so they are the addressees, right? They are the ones for whom the message is meant. And if we, kind of don't think too much of ourselves, then, Krishna will give us intelligence how to apply principles in all different circumstances. My little experience is that humble and sincere devotees, they always get intelligence from Krishna how to do things right. So Krishna is really showing a lot of mercy to them. I don't know if this is answering your question.
Are you suggesting that Are you suggesting that the guidance comes more from within, like Krishna gives intelligence from within the heart and just it becomes self-illuminated? Or that it comes from the spiritual master and the senior devotees?
Well, it may come from the spiritual master, but we can also see so many examples how the instructions of the spiritual master can be abused and misapplied. There have been many instances in our society. So if someone doesn't have proper intelligence, anything can be abused, and it's like we have our own history of abuse, and it was all done with the best intentions. That's why Bible says that the path to hell is covered with good intentions, right? And so yes, you ask any devotee who have committed some horrible abuse, and he will say, yes, I was following the instructions of the spiritual master, according to my understanding. So I would say that being intelligent is really important for us. Because, sometimes we tend to simplify things and ignore important aspects of Krishna consciousness, and that many times leads us to a trouble. We are past the 9:30, so I don't know if you want to let another question, or shall we finish?
Thank you very much, Maharaja, for your class. Just one thing, that list of qualities you mentioned, some of them are mentioned in Bhakti. Some of them mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, charity and penance, according to three modes. And the Bhagavad Gita explains them according to the ignorance, charity, and passion, charity, and goodness, and so on. So you mentioned truthfulness. Could you explain what is truthfulness and ignorance, truthfulness and passion, truthfulness and goodness?
So truthfulness in different modes. Well, I suppose that example of, Kaushik was truthfulness and ignorance. He was truthful, and because ignorance means you harm other people and you harm yourself, right? And so he harmed, by his truthfulness, he harmed, the victims, and he harmed himself because he went to hell. So truthfulness and passion would be, benefit myself but harm others, and truthfulness in goodness would be to, do good for everyone, and transcendental truthfulness would be to give everyone eternal benefit of becoming Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna. All right, so we'll stop here. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. And please bless me to serve the Vaishnavas in other places I'll be heading to, so that they would be pleased with my, whatever I can do for them. And thank you for your wonderful association. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaja. Perfect. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so scores from yesterday. Yesterday in Radha's boutique, we distributed 10 books for a total of 311 Lakshmi points. Haribo! And in our shop, Closet Krishna in Rochester, yesterday we distributed one small book and 2 medium books for a total of 219 Lakshmi points. Haribo. And in Govinda's Transcendental Prasadam Distribution Restaurant, yesterday we served at least 258 paid customers and collected a total of 2,422 Lakshmi points. Haribo!